welcome to CJ DIY. I am C. In this episode, I have mega video full of all my spring and Easter 2024 DIYs. Enjoy. I'm using one oval wood slice that I picked up from Michael's. I'm gonna be using decoupage sheet, this beautiful cheeky from Decoupage Central. I'm gonna have the link in my description box. And simply and easy, we're gonna decoupage it on top of this wooden slice. First, I'm going around the edges, see which part is gonna go on the wood slice. I don't want this sheet to cover the dark wooden frame around the sign, so I want to be very careful when I'm adding the Mod Podge to not cover that darker brown frame around. So with my sponge brush, I am going around the light wooden color and make sure the Mod Podge is layered enough. There is not a lot amount of it, because when you make a decoupage, you gotta make sure how you add a right amount of Mod Podge so you don't get bubbles or wrinkles. So when I add the first part, I'm just smoothing it out with my fingers, and now I'm gonna do the same thing all over the sign with the Mod Podge and the decoupage sheet. If you never worked with decoupage pieces before, I would suggest first thing that you try on is those rice sheets. You can even print out your own image. Just grab some rice sheets from Amazon. Amazon is carrying those. I tried those before. And print out your favorite image and try it, and you're gonna see how beautiful it works. It's gonna look like that piece was originally on your sign, just like that. So now when I transfer the whole sheet on my wood slice to get my vintage rustic edges, I just use my lighter to get rid of the edges of the decoupage sheet, and to smooth it out I just use my sanding sponge. And that's it for this quick and easy beautiful piece. To smooth it even more out, even if it was not necessary, I just grab my parchment paper and my mini press, and I'm going over the image. And if you had problems with bubbles and wrinkles, this will help to disappear. To add more vintage vibe to my sign, I'm also using my distressing brush, and I just added a little bit of antique wax, and I'm going around the sign. And also to seal it, I'm adding a Mod Podge, matte finish Mod Podge. I don't like the glossy finish. And that's it for this beautiful look. I'm gonna be working with this thrifted book decor vintage piece. I purchased it for like a couple of dollars, $2-3. After I clean it well, I'm painting the inside pages with the linen chalk paint. When it's all nice and dry, we're gonna decoupage these beautiful bird families, and I'm just adding enough amount of Mod Podge with my sponge brush and going even on those flipped pages before I add my sheet on, and make sure I got enough amount of Mod Podge before I add my sheet on it. This project was so easy to do, and like I mentioned before, when you have a nice rice sheet, you're not gonna have any wrinkles and bubbles, and it's gonna look like that piece came together originally, just like you're gonna see at the end. So first thing, I'm just going around those flipped page on the corners, because they're a little bit of tricky to work on. And then I'm going on the middle part of the book pages. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other page as well. I want to make sure my birdie is in the center before it's all nice and smooth and glued. And that's it. I mean, there is not a big philosophy to make a decoupage piece. I'm even using my decoupage brayer. I got this one from Plaid, but you can find it in any crafting stores or online to help you smooth out your decoupage projects. For me, it's easier to smooth out the surface with my fingers first, and then if it's necessary, using the brayer, and then at the end we can even use the parchment paper with the mini press. I mean, any kind of method will work, and the piece will be beautiful, original, unique, and it's gonna look like we made it for a high-end boutique store. I'm repeating the same thing with my second sheet, and I'm going around the edges like I did, and this one was a little bit larger on the edges, and I had to cut off just a little portion of it, but not a problem, it's not noticeable. And I'm just going around the edge before I cut it off, make sure I don't cut more than enough. And after that, I'm just gonna use my lighter to smooth out the edges and just give that vintage look to it, and we have a perfect look. I smooth out the edges with my sanding sponge, and before I do something else, I seal it with a matte finish Mod Podge. And after that, I'm gonna be creating a new bookmark. I like the golden finish, but I just wanted to give a little bit different look to it. So this tiny rope have a little bit of those Easter colors, like bluish, pinkish, yellowish, greenish, just a couple of colors in it. I know it's hard for you to see it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tie the edges, and then I'm just gonna flip those two ropes together, braid them just like that. I'm just gonna twist them. I don't know if you can see it, just like that. And before I glue it, I want to hold it tight because it's not like a real braid, but it's like a flipped, if that makes sense. And then I'm gonna glue it in the middle part of my book. I mean, you can be creative, you can even leave that bookmark that it came with it, but I just wanted to leave and make a new look to it, refresh it. After I glued the middle part for the bookmark, I'm gonna cut off the edges, and then I'm gonna glue it in that opening hole that it's on top of the book. And I'm just gonna flip the edges so they don't separate, and that's it for the bookmark part. For extra embellishment on my book, I will be adding this peel and stick border strips that I got from Amazon, but you can find them in any hardware store. Those frames, you can use them in your walls, on furniture, or even in your decorations like I'm doing right now. So what I did is I just cut off one piece on one side, another piece on another side, and to make it more flexible, you can even use the heating gun, so you can even smooth it out. You can even create a round shape with those silicone frames. That's how flexible they are. I really love them. And always you can use your dry clay and add some forms to it, but this time I wanted to work with those borders and see how it's gonna work. And guess what, you're gonna see me using those borders in my future projects as well, because I love them and they were not very pricey, just a couple of dollars, and I love them. I cut off the edges as a 45-degree angle, and I'm gonna finish the rest of the book ends with this frame, and I think it looks just perfect. And I like this border because it came with a golden finish. It's like white with golden finish, but also you can paint those borders in any colors that you prefer to make your project cohesive. And as you can see, I just remove a little bit of my bookmark on top of it so I can smooth out the edges, and I glue the bookmark back after my border was glued to it. This was done for less than 5 minutes, and you have a perfect, unique look to the old vintage thrifted item that we purchased. And this is proof that I'm bringing something old back to new life. And you gotta let me know, what do you think about this? Now, to add some extra vintage rustic look to it, I just add my golden finish around the edges on the pages and around the frames and the pages on the end of the book. And that's it for this beautiful creation. For my next project, I'm going to be using these food baking cups. I have those for a while, but you can find those decorative baking cups at Dollar Tree. I saw them at the Plus area for $3, but there is a lot of them with the Easter designs. I didn't want to spend extra money for it because I have those home. So I'm gonna just be using those foam balls. I'm gonna be using 1.5 for each cup. And if you haven't guessed by now, I'm gonna be making a fall cupcakes. So I glue the half of the foam ball on the bottom of my cup, and I'm gonna add the other foam ball on top of it. Now I wanna add those grass picks on my cupcake, but before that I'm gonna be adding some green moss to cover the white foam ball, and we're gonna have some beautiful spring Easter cupcake with the green frosty grass. Now that I add the moss, I'm just trimming off the edges to make it nice and straight, and after that I'm gonna add these grass picks to make sure I cover the whole ball with it. It was going to look cute just with the moss, but I just wanted to add the 3D effect with these grass edges, so that's what I'm going for. Make sure covering the whole ball, and I'm gonna do 2 of those cupcakes. Now that I cover it all, I'm gonna trim off the grass about 1 inch, ½ inch long. I want a short edges. Now that I cut off the edges, with the cut off the grass, I'm just filling out the empty spaces between the grass and the moss to make it look more fuller. This is a quick process, but there is so many details to it just to get that full cute look. And after that, I'm just gonna trim off all grass edges to look equal, and now we're gonna add some embellishments. For embellishment, I picked up those Dollar Tree miniatures, bumblebees, flowers, mushrooms, butterflies, and make my cupcake look super cute and whimsical. I added a glue, and I'm just gonna glue them on top of my grass edges, and we have a perfect fall cupcake. I didn't want it to add any caulking to it. I just use a grass, foam balls, and those embellishment, and I think it looks just perfect. Let me know, what do you think about this cute idea for fall baking goodies? And that's how 2 of them looks. I'm gonna be using another baking cup, and I'm gonna be creating a mini wooden basket. I'm using these wooden sticks from Dollar Tree, and I'm gonna cover my cup with that. This is gonna be such a cute mini decor. We can add it next to our fall cupcakes that we add, or we can add it to our trier tray, and it's gonna be such a perfect detail for our upcoming spring and Easter decor. And it's so quick and easy to be done. Anybody can do it with anything that you have in your house, from trash to treasure, and you're gonna have a high-end look. For a handle, I'm gonna be using these colorful wooden beads from Dollar Tree. I use 1 flower pick wire. I cut it on half, and I just make it in a half round circle, and I fill it out with those wooden beads. After I created the handle, I just flip it upside down. I'm gonna cut off the extra wire that is coming out of those beads, and then to make it smoother and sturdier, I just add a glue where the openings of those wood beads are, so they're not gonna fall apart. I let it dry for a little bit, and now I'm gonna glue this handle on top of my basket. To decorate it, I just fill it out with moss, and inside I'm just gonna be adding those mini cute eggs. Even they're a little bit of glittery, I like it, I don't mind, it looks perfect. I just fill it out and glue them on top of the moss. I thought I'm gonna be adding those cute mini brush carrots, but I think that's too much, so I just left it with those eggs. Also, I tied this mini rope around the basket, and that's it. Not even 5 minutes, and we have a perfect look for Easter or spring. This creation is quick and easy too. You know that I love quick and easy creations since I'm very busy, so I love those for less than 5 minutes. I'm gonna be using this wooden distress rustic sign from Walmart that I have it in my stash for a while. I'm gonna be adding those ribbon transfers birdies. I'm not sure if those are redesigned with Primas. I have them since last year, so I'm not sure, but you can find any kind of transfers. Even Dollar Tree is showing some beautiful ribbon transfers this year, so you can find them everywhere. And after I add those transfers in the middle, on the side, I'm gonna be adding those stencil designs, and I'm just adding with my sponge brush nautical paint to cover those borders, and that's it. This one is not even 2 minutes, right? But we got a perfect spring decor detail for our homes. Or you can even use them for resale if you have a booth or a store, and you can make some profit out of it. Let me know if I inspire you today with all those beautiful, whimsical, happy colors, and if I gave you an idea for you to sit down and craft some beautiful, amazing creations. From Hobby Lobby at 75% off. It was only $4 and some change, and I'm gonna make a makeover on it. After I remove the price tags, I'm gonna sand off the middle part with my block sander just a little bit before I add some paint on it. After I clean it well with a wipe, I'm adding this hazelnut plaid chalk paint and covering the whole sign with it. Even if I don't like this color, I just needed to add a different color on my sign so it can match with my embellishment that I will be adding. After I paint it all, I'm just using the top part of my brush and going around the frame edges so I can have that white framing around the middle part of my sign. When it's all nice and dry, I just grab my distressing brush and I'm gonna distress it with a white chalk paint going all over the sign so I can make my sign faded. The distressing doesn't need to be perfect. All I'm working on is to match with the embellishments that I will be adding to this sign. So simply I'm going all over the sign, adding this white paint to distress it, and then after that I just went with white and I got that worn out look that I was looking for. Now that I got the look that I need, I'm adding this IOD bunny from the holiday collection transfer, and it's gonna match perfect in the middle. So if you can see the background on this bunny, it matched perfect with the sign that I made with all that paint and distressing. And before I add the transfer, I'm just measuring the edges to fit perfect in the middle part of this sign. And now, simple, I'm just gonna add this rub-on transfer in the middle part of my sign. Those rub-on transfers are so easy to work with, and you're gonna have a beautiful, unique look for Easter, and giving unique, vintage, French country, shabby chic look for this sign. Perfect for Easter decor, done very low on a budget. So after I added my transfer, I'm just going with my scraper, and not even 5 minutes, you have a nice look on this sign with this beautiful bunny. I wanted to add something extra next to my bunny, and I'm going over through my Dollar Tree stamps, and Dollar Tree have a nice stamps this year, and see if I can find something to match perfect with my bunny sign. So I found this wording stamps, and I decided to go over with those stamps around on the sign next to my bunny and give that vintage look. But as I'm adding the stamps, I see those words are too tiny and I didn't like. But even though I just went over to get that black ink next to the bunny, and after that I'm just gonna sand it off and having that dark stain next to the bunny. And after that, I cleaned it well, and I decided to go with my IOD stamps because those words are a little bit larger and they can match perfect. So I'm adding a black ink, and I'm gonna do stamps all over around the bunny sign, and I think it's gonna give that beautiful signature look for this sign. Now that I got the look that I like, I just did a little bit of sanding on the edges with my block sander, and to seal it, I'm just adding a matte finish Mod Podge in the middle part for my bunny, and all that distressing and stamps is done. To bring this sign to a more higher level, I decided to add this wooden applique. I got those long time ago. I believe they're from Amazon, but you can find them in any crafting store. I love to work with these wooden appliques. They're coming in different designs, and they can bring such a beautiful detail to your crafts. So I'm adding 4 of them on each corner. On my sign, I added a wood glue, and I gluing them. And with this, I just give that shabby chic vintage French country look. After I glue them, I'm adding antique wax so I can bring that beautiful crevices to details with adding this distressing. And then I distressed my bunny sign as well. And also I'm gonna add on the edges of those applique golden matte finish that I always add to my crafts, and that part is done. After that, you can leave that sign like it is. It looks just gorgeous, but to give a special color and look to this sign, I made 2 bows with these beautiful ribbons, just a 2 simple bow, and I couldn't choose which one looks better, but at the end I decided the one with the roses, just to give that beautiful pink color on this sign. It's gonna match perfect. Let me know, what do you think about this makeover? For my next creation, I'm going to be using these 2 rice decoupage sheets that I purchased. Usually I purchase mine from My Victorian Heart or from Decoupage Central. I got the links in my description box. Before I add them on my wooden sign, I want to cut off the edges. If you haven't done decoupage before, I suggest you use a rice sheet for decoupage, and that's how you're not gonna have any wrinkle and bubbles. I'm gonna be using this wooden Dollar Tree sign. The inside part I painted with the ivory paint, and when it's nice and dry, I'm just adding a Mod Podge, and with my sponge brush I'm going over, and now smoothly with the fingers I'm going over until my whole sheet is at on my sign. Simple as that. And with this rice sheet, you're not gonna have any wrinkle and bubble. And another magical tool for decoupage is my brayer. I got this one from Plaid, but you can find these brayers any crafting stores, even Amazon having them, and that's it. And I'm doing the same thing for my second sheet. I just cut off one of the side of the edges just to fit perfect in my Dollar Tree sign, and look at this beautiful makeover. Now, of course, I always gotta add extra. I have another beautiful wooden applique, and I'm gonna add this large applique on top of my sign. I just added a wood glue, and I'm gonna let it dry for a little bit. And then also for the edges of my frame, I'm going to add flexible molding trim. Those trims are usually add on the walls or furniture. You can always find this in a hardware stores or crafting stores. I got mine from Amazon just for a couple of dollars, and they're so easy to work with. They're adhesive, self-adhesives. You don't need to add extra glue on it. I just cut off with a cutting knife, and that's it, just to fit perfect on my sign. And look at this perfect makeover. What did I do from a Dollar Tree wooden sign? It's not even recognizable, isn't it? To bring my crevices to details, I'm adding antique wax with my distressing brush, and also I'm gonna add some golden matte finish as well. And with adding this antique wax and gold finish, I just bring those applique to detail and bring that French country shabby chic look, and it matched perfect with my molding frame as well. I'm gonna do the same thing on my second sign as well, and let me know, what do you think about this makeover?
Begin to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals, they take us higher. The night's young, it has just begun, as she puts her hand in mine. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top. We're gonna be two hearts running wild.
I have this Easter basket for a couple of years now, and I want to give a new makeover. I like the eggs inside with this neutral looks they are with the leaves. I just want to add some extra embellishment to it. I'm going to be adding this bunny tail, like he's digging inside of the dirt looking for some carrots. I'm going to be adding those yellow Easter carrots that I purchased from Michael's. They're for a few cents. And also I'm gonna be adding some leaves and carrots and flowers just to make this basket fully new, remodeled makeover. I'm gonna be adding this mini new brush Dollar Tree carrots. I added the new leaves on top of them, and I'm gonna add them beside the bunny tail. I decided to add the bunny tail right in the middle because it looks more realistic like that. And now I'm just adding random leaves and flowers that I got in my stash. You can add any colors that you prefer. I decided to go with the yellow color this year with this basket. So I'm just adding more picks on the back of the basket, and not even 5 minutes you have a new makeover. Now when I got the look that I like, I'm also gonna be making a 4-loop bow with this fancy whimsical ribbon that I also got in my stash. I'm not sure where I got it from. I believe I got it last year on clearance from JoAnns, maybe even Dollar Tree, I don't remember. So simple, I just make this fancy bow and I'm gonna glue it on my basket. And that's it for this quick and easy makeover. I'm pretty sure you have tons of basket in your home and you can make a lot of new makeover for this year, spring and Easter. Those large moss bunnies are all over the stores and internet, and I want to make my own version. I'm going to be using this Dollar Tree Easter bunny that I got in my stash for a couple of years now, but I see Dollar Tree still selling them. So if you see them, grab some of them and you can make a nice makeover to it. So simple. This is a little bit of messy DIY, but you can make it. You just add a hot glue on top of this bunny and add a moss on it and cover the whole bunny with it. You gotta be careful if you're adding a hot glue because you might burn yourself. At the end, I decided to add the gloves, so it was more easier for me to form the moss around this bunny, and not even a couple of minutes, you're gonna cover the whole bunny and you're gonna have a perfect Easter look with this bunny. I love to create for spring and Easter. There is so many ideas that you can make a beautiful home decor on budget with Dollar Tree items or with items that you already have in your house. Just give a new makeover and you're gonna have a brand new look for this year's spring and Easter decor. I made so many creations and lots of new creations coming up in this couple of days. I can't wait to share it with all of you and give you more ideas for spring and Easter. And back to my bunny, I'm just covering it out with a moss and make sure it's all covered so the color is not going to be noticeable. And now that I got fully covered, to make that moss more sturdy, I just use a hairspray and spray it all over. I'm also adding a cute 2-loop bow, and that's it for this quick and easy DIY. I'm gonna be using these 2 mini birdies that I got from Hobby Lobby last year. I bought them on clearance for a few cents, and I'm gonna cover them with this patina paint, iron paint, and I'm gonna give them a 2 good coats on it. After I shake the paint very well, now I'm gonna apply the paint on my birdies. First, I start using my paintbrush, but then I see it didn't work, so the easiest way to apply this paint was sponge brush, and you just dabbing the paint over the birds until the whole surface is covered with it. I'm gonna apply 1 coat, and then when the first coat gets dry, I'm gonna apply a second coat on them. When the second coat is applied, when it's still wet, I'm gonna be using this Dixie Belle patina spray in green color. While the birdies are wet with the second coat, I'm gonna spray them over with this spray and cover them all. I'm gonna let them dry overnight, and then it's time for me to decorate with these birdies. And look at all these patina rustic iron look on them. I really love this effect and I'm gonna be using it in a lot of projects. Let me know what do you think about those birdies. Now to decorate them, I'm gonna be using this cute candle holder that I got from Dollar Tree. I'm gonna be using one of the Dollar Tree basket, and I got egg nest, and inside of my basket I'm gonna be adding some green moss, and I'm gonna add the egg nest together with my birdie. So basically I'm creating a family birdies when the female birdie is expecting babies and the father birdie is watching them and protecting them on the bottom, right? When you create things like that, you gotta be creative and full of imagination. So that's how I imagine this creation. But before that, in the middle part of my basket, I'm adding one of these crochets ribbon that I got from Dollar Tree. I just add one ribbon around that. I made 4 loop simple bow. I glue it in the middle part, and now I'm going back to the decorations. I added my birdie and the egg nest, and now I'm adding these beautiful cute camellia flowers from Dollar Tree. I really love those flowers. I added some lilac or lavender on the back with leaves and more floral in the lavender color, and this creation is done. I also added some yellow flowers just to have mixture of colors with the flowers and happy look, and that's it.
Our hearts beat to the city streets. We began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals they take us higher. The night's young, it has just begun as she puts her hand in mine. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just 2 hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top.
I'm gonna be using this Valentine's gift box from Dollar Tree. I'm gonna remove the handle first. This is such a cute decoration that you will love at the end to recreate it. Trust me. And it's not expensive at all. So now that I removed the handle ribbon, I'm gonna paint it with a chalk paint of linen, I believe. Doesn't matter what color, you just need to cover the whole box with that paint. I gave it 2 good coats until the whole design from that bag was covered. Now, of course, I'm gonna be decoupaging the front part of my bag with this beautiful decoupage central rice sheet, and the front part of my box is gonna look like this. After I added a Mod Podge, slowly I'm going with the fingers and make sure the whole part is covered and there is no wrinkles and bubbles on it. As you're watching my channel, lately I'm enjoying myself creating beautiful decorations with this beautiful rice decoupage sheet from Decoupage Central. Now that I covered the front part, I'm gonna cover the little side of the leftover of the page on the side, and I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side as well, adding a Mod Podge, make sure it's all nice and smooth and covered. And then I'm gonna try to trim off the edges at the end, but I don't want to destroy that part because I'm gonna use that part, leftover part from that decoupage sheet, on this bag as well. So first I went over with a nail sander, and then slowly with the fingers I'm removing the excess of this sheet. I'm gonna divide this page on half, and then I'm gonna add those 2 lines left over on the side of my handbag. As you can see, I'm creating a decorative centerpiece handbag with this box. I'm adding a Mod Podge, and in the middle part on the side of my box, I'm gonna be adding that decoupage sheet. I'm gonna repeat the same thing on the other side as well. To seal it, of course, I'm adding matte finish Mod Podge all over my decoupage sheets. And then we can go with the next step with this beautiful box. Now, the empty spaces between the stripes on the sides, I'm gonna be covering them with a green moss to make that garden finish look. I'm adding a hot Gorilla Glue and slowly I'm just adding green moss on top of it. This process is a little bit messy, but at the end, it's gonna be super cute and it's worth it that I've been through all this messiness. I'm doing the second stripe on the side of my bag, and then I'm gonna repeat the same thing on the other side as well. I'm going to trim off the excess on the side of the moss, and then like I mentioned, I'm going to repeat the same thing on the other side as well, and also the back of this box. Now that I cover the back as well, to make it more sturdy, I'm adding a hairspray and going all over where I added the moss on each side. For handles for my handbag, I'm gonna be adding these weaving reeds that I got in my stash, and I did so many projects with it. And they're so flexible, so I think this is the best part to create these flexible handles for my handbag. So I just added a hot glue and I'm gonna glue them on each side. I'm gonna be adding 2 handles, and that part is quick, easy, and done. I'm doing the same thing with the second handle, the same size as the first one, and that's it. Those weaving reeds are the ones that you can make baskets with it, but they're so flexible and you can create so many creations with them. And I just love how it brought to my idea to give handles to my handbag just like that. Now that I got the look that I like, I'm gonna be adding some embellishments on my handbag. On top of the handles, I'm adding this faux pearls adhesive that I got left over from my previous projects that I did on my other videos. On the corner, on the back, I just created 2 simple bow with this cute pink ribbon that I got in my stash. And I was thinking first to add a lace ribbon, but I think this pink ribbon just matched perfect with the design of the decoupage sheet that I added on my purse. I added some florals with these cute soft pink camellias and blue colors and leaves, and I think this DIY is done. Let me know, what do you think? It's just perfect for spring and Easter decor. Those are quick and easy hacks. I'm gonna be using these cute frames from Dollar Tree. I really love the design on these frames. I didn't want it to paint or do anything with it. And inside, I'm gonna be adding these cute rice sheets from Decoupage Central. I didn't want it to decoupage them. I just gonna add them inside of my frame. I'm just cutting off the edges to fit just perfect for the inside part of my frame. And that's it. Super quick and easy hack. Doesn't need to do anything on it. You just make a nice makeover on those Dollar Tree frames and you have a beautiful look for our upcoming spring and Easter. I didn't want it to cut the axis on the bottom because who knows, maybe next year I'm gonna be decoupaging this cute bunny prints that I have. I made 2 of them with those frames, and that's it for this quick and easy hack. Let me know which of those quick and easy DIYs you like the best, and if I inspire you for you to go to your local Dollar Tree and find similar items like this or the ones that I made and create a beautiful Easter spring decor like I did for just a couple of dollars, and nobody's gonna believe it if they look at this They're not gonna believe that we made all these items with Dollar Tree products. Even the candle holders are from Dollar Tree, and the candles, I got them from my local store. They're just the perfect candle eggs for Easter. In this stained wooden sign, I'm adding one of my mesh stencils that I got last year from A Makers. I made sure I added in the middle part of my wood sign, and now with my sponge brush I added a ivory chalk paint and covered the whole French wording on this stencil. Some people are using paste when they got mesh stencil, but I never done that. I am just adding any chalk paint that I got in my stash, and it worked perfect. So now that I covered the whole stencil, slowly I'm removing it, and I got the look that I like. We got this French wording on it. To make it more rustic, I'm just sanding it with my sanding block, and now I got a perfect look for spring, even everyday look sign. I decided to add some embellishment on the edges and create a frame on this sign, and I'm gonna go with this floral ribbon that I got in my stash, and I'm gonna create a frame with it. I added a hot glue, and I'm simply gluing the sides with this perfect ribbon, and I think it's so cohesive and perfect look with adding this floral frame for it. I'm doing the same thing on top, and then I'm gonna add a couple of flowers on the side of my sign, and this part is done. Simple, quick, budget friendly, less than $5, not even $5, maybe $2-3, and we have a perfect look for our upcoming spring decor. I'm gonna be using this book from Dollar Tree with the hard covers. After I removed the paper cover, I really like this navy color with the gold words American Magic on the side of the book. And I'm gonna be adding a rice decoupage sheet with this beautiful basket right there in the middle of the book. Before that, I'm gonna mark it off with a pen where I'm gonna add some paint before I decoupage this sheet. If you don't have any decoupage paper, you can always add some decorative napkin or decorative tissue or some stickers, anything you like, and you can make a perfect tabletop for your spring decor this year. Now that I marked part that I needed painted, I'm gonna be adding a white paint to cover it. It's easier to add a paint when you adding a rice decoupage sheet, so the print can be more visual and more into details. If you leave it on the dark surface, the decoupage sheet is not gonna look that good, if that makes sense. So that's why I am adding this paint right there in the middle where we're gonna add the decoupage sheet, and this is gonna take us not even 5 minutes, and we're gonna have a perfect look for spring for less than $1.50, right? The book is still $1.25 at Dollar Tree, and I already had this rice decoupage sheet in my stash, and voila, you're gonna have a perfect look and such a great idea that everybody can try. Now that the paint is dry, I'm adding a Mod Podge, and I'm just gonna add the rice sheet on top of it, and I think it looks right in the middle perfect because I'm gonna be adding some extra embellishments around the frame of this cover book. To make it more smoother, I did with my brayer, and I'm also adding a parchment paper, and with my mini press I'm going over just to make it smooth. I mean, it was smooth enough, but I wanted to make it more smoother. For extra embellishment, I got this in my stash, this decorative ribbon transfers from Redesigned with Prima, some leaves, golden leaves and flowers, and I decided to add some on top of my rice sheet that I added, and I think it's gonna look super cute and super cohesive with the name title of this book, and it looks perfect with those golden branches around the edges. I just love it. So I added 4 designs on each corner, and after that I'm gonna seal it with a Mod Podge matte finish, and also I'm gonna be distressing it just a little bit with this golden matte finish, and my distressing brush just going around the edges, and I really like how it came out. For my next creation, I'm going to be using one of those signs that I purchased from Hobby Lobby a while ago. I believe I only paid $2 for it. I'm going to cover the top with one of my chalk paints, and now that it's dry, I'm going to be adding another basket decoupage sheet. Same process like I did with my book. On the corner, I glued one of my branches that I got with eggs and leaves, and also I'm gonna be adding some florals. I got these cute camellia flowers, ivory, light pink, and light blue colors that they're perfect cohesive with the picture on the basket, so I'm gonna be gluing them. But before that, I wanted to iron the petals of the flowers because they were like little bit shrinked. So I make them to look more nicer and high-end look before I glue them, and after that I'm gonna be adding them on the corner part of my sign, and I believe those flowers look exactly like those on the picture with the basket and the eggs. You gotta let me know, what do you think? I know most of you love those 5-minute crafts, especially when they're budget friendly, and I think these crafts that I made today you're gonna try on your own, and you can use them as a decorative piece, or you can use it as a gift, or maybe resell. I mean, the sky is the limit with all those crafts that you can make, and they'll be not just unique. First, you're gonna be so happy that you made it. Second, it's gonna look very high-end, and it's a win-win situation after all. Now that my flowers are all glued for extra distressing, I'm just using my distressing brush, and I'm using this matte golden finish around the edges on my sign. And also to seal it, I added a matte finish Mod Podge, and that's it. I have these buckets for a very long time, maybe 2-3 years. I only spent few cents and I got them from a thrift store. I wanted to spray paint them, but the weather was bad outside, so I decided to leave them as they are. And yellow is very popular this spring and Easter, so I decided to leave it as it is. So this one is not a DIY, it's a hack. So basically, if you have similar buckets like this, you just add any kind of floral that you have in your stash and you're gonna make a perfect decorative statement for your home. You can even put this in front of your door and it's gonna be a perfect look for Easter and spring. So whatever I found in my stash with tulips, daisies, grass, eggs, anything that I found in my stash, I didn't spend a dime for this hack. But if I went to the store, definitely it was going to cost me more. So this one actually didn't cost me anything since I have it already in my stash. And look how cute it looks with all those beautiful colors. And it can look perfect on my vignette or for outdoor piece. I love it together with all those bunnies and frames. It's just the perfect look. Another quick and easy look is this cute pink frame that I got it from Target. My daughter actually got it for me a few months ago. I think it was in January she got it for me. So I think it's just perfect for spring and Easter. So after I remove the handle on the back and I just position it vertically because that's what I wanted to do. Original was horizontally, the handle on the back on the frame. I decided to add these prints inside of this frame. I got this cute chickie who talks on the phone, and also I got this cute boy with the lamp ready for Easter. I have those prints for a couple of years now, and every Easter and spring I'm creating beautiful decorations with those prints. You can find prints like this in any kind of crafting stores, or you can even order them online. And on the back of the frame, I'm gonna be adding those words scrapbook sheet that previously I cut it in the egg shape to match the frame. And now I'm just going again with the chickie or with the boy. I can't make up my mind, but I wanted to see how it's gonna look before I add the Mod Podge on one of those. I decided to add the boy, and instead of a Mod Podge, I'm just adding a tacky glue, and I'm gonna glue it on top of the scrapbook sheet, and then to seal it I'm gonna add a matte finish Mod Podge. And that's it for this quick and easy cute DIY. Painted with a weathered wood DIY paint first. And with Easter coming up soon, here's the reason for the season. I'm gonna be creating some religious DIYs. Now that I covered the whole cross on one side, I'm gonna be creating the crackle effect, and I'm gonna show it on two ways. I got the crackle from folk art first, so that's the first side that I'm gonna be using, and I'm gonna show you the difference. Now that the cross is dry, I'm just going with a brush to cover the whole cross with this crackle medium to see if it's gonna be better to use this crackle medium that I used before, and with the Elmer's glue, school glue. So now after I cover it, I let it dry a little bit, and now I'm gonna cover my cross with a chalk paint in color white. You will need a good amount of paint on your brush, so you don't need to go over on top of the paint. So you just do, as you can see, I'm just doing one line to cover the whole cross. I am repeating the same step on the back of the cross after the paint is dry. This time I'm gonna be adding Elmer's school glue and covering it all, and I want to see the difference between the school glue and the actual crackle medium effect. So now after I cover my cross with the glue, I'm doing the same thing with the paint and a brush, covering the whole cross with it. And while I'm still painting, I can see the crackle is affecting on the Elmer's glue better than the crackle medium that I use on the other side. And I think I'm gonna go with the glue effect better than the crackle medium from Folk Art. I'm using this 18-inch grape wine wreath purchased from Michael's. It was on sale for like $4 and some change. After I remove the tag, now it's time to create my wreath. I got this beautiful bouquet. It was only one branch and I got it on sale for $4 and some change also from Michael's. And I cut off all those beautiful florals with the leaves and branches, and now I'm just gonna add them on one side of my wreath. So I'm trying to work parallel. Whatever I add on top, I'm adding the same flower and leaf on the bottom as well. I'm just adding a little bit of hot glue. I don't think that's necessary, but just to make it more sturdy, because this one will be on my outdoor. I'm leaving empty space between the top and the bottom flowers, as you can see, and that space gonna be for a large bow that I'm gonna create after I add all those flowers in it. It's so simple and easy to create wreath like this. You just need to have the good quality of flowers and the colors that you like, and you're gonna have a perfect wreath that you don't need to spend a fortune. Now that I added my flowers on one side, on the other side I'm gonna be adding my cross. On top of the cross, I'm gonna be adding this faith word. I got this from my stash. It was galvanized. I painted with a weathered DIY paint, and now before I glue it also with the fingers, I'm just gonna dab and give a little bit of golden distressing on top of the faith word so I can light it up a little bit and give some statement to it. And I think it's gonna look super cute. I don't cover it all, but I'm just doing a little bit of distressing with the fingers. I'm adding a hot glue on the back of the word, and I'm gonna glue it right in the middle of my cross, and I think it looks just perfect. And this wreath can be not just for Easter, can be as a everyday decor, because we are celebrating God every single day. To add the cross to the wreath, I'm gonna be adding a little wire. This is from my flower branches. I cut off a small wire and I'm gonna glue it on the back of the cross. I'm also adding some paper tag just to make it more sturdy, and now with the wire will be way easier to add the cross on the wooden wreath. I'm adding a glue on the edges of the wire, and now it's way easier to add it to the wooden wreath, make it more sturdy. I'm creating a large bow with my bow maker and this beautiful lace ribbon that I got in my stash, and I am creating 8 loops, large loops for this bow. It's so easy. I just go on one side and then parallel on the other side until I fully made this large bow. This ribbon is facing only lace ribbon on top. I wanted to make sure that I got the lace part of the bow, so I'm just gonna flip off the ribbon just like so, as you can see me, and have the lace facing on my ribbon. The only part I didn't like about this ribbon, it had a lot of glitter, and I would suggest if you have a glittery ribbon and you don't want that glitter to be all over the place, you can add hairspray and the glitter will stop falling. Now that I got my bow, I'm gonna tie it with the twine in the middle, and also I'm making one little loop to add it right in the middle, and I'm gonna tie it with the twine that I had on my bow, and that's it. After this, I'm gonna add the bow on my wreath, and we are done with this quick and easy and cute decoration. Now that I add my bow on my wreath, I'm gonna cut off the edges as a ducktail, and that's it. Gonna be using these wooden cutouts that I got long time from Michael's. I'm gonna stain them with antique wax from Waverly, and with a baby wipe I'm gonna remove the stain so I can have that stain look on my letters. I'm gonna be adding them on this wooden crate from Dollar Tree. Also, I'm gonna be adding a wooden slice and a cross cutout, all from Dollar Tree. Now that my letters are dry, I'm gonna position them on my crate and creating He Is Risen tabletop decoration for tier tray. If you like to recreate this decoration, also Dollar Tree is selling wooden letter cutouts, also some stickers. I mean, you can create in any way and style that you prefer. This time I wanted to make this like a primitive, rustic, vintage look, and I think it looks just perfect, ready for Easter. Now that I add the letters like I wanted to, I'm gonna be adding the cross in the middle, and I'm gonna glue them with the wood glue. So I grab my little brush and adding a glue and just gluing them on top of this crate. To make my sign as a tabletop, I grab another crate that I cut in half, and now I'm just adding a glue, and I'm gonna add my sign right in the middle of the ribs of that crate. I am also cutting the twine handle that crate came with, because we're gonna be using this as a tier tray decor, and for extra embellishment I'm just adding some dry moss on the bottom to give that extra vintage rustic look. And that's it for this quick and easy and beautiful decoration. I hope I gave you tons of inspirations with these beautiful spring and Easter DIYs. And thank you so much for stopping by and always giving me unconditional love. And until next time, my darlings, I'm sending you lots of blessings from me to you. Bye-bye.